Whether measured by the anguish of the poor themselves or by the drastically mounting burden on the taxpayer, the present welfare system has to be judged a colossal failure. Our states and cities find themselves sinking in a federal quagmire as caseloads increase, as costs escalate, and as the welfare system stagnates enterprise and perpetuates dependency. What began on a small scale in the Depression 30s has become a huge monster in the prosperous 60s. And the tragedy is not only that it is bringing states and cities to the brink of financial disaster, but also that it is failing to meet the elementary human, social, and financial needs of the poor. It breaks up homes. It often penalizes work. It robs recipients of dignity, and it grows. Benefit levels are grossly unequal. For a mother with 3 children, they range from an average of $263 a month in one state down to an average of only $39 in another state. Now, such an inequality as this is wrong. No child is worth more in one state than in another state. One result of this inequality is to lure thousands more into already overcrowded inner cities, as unprepared for city life as they are for city jobs. The present system creates an incentive for desertion. In most states, a family is denied welfare payments if a father is present, even though he is unable to support his family. Now, in practice, this is what often happens. A father is unable to find a job at all or one that will support his children. And so to make the children eligible for welfare, he leaves home. And the children are denied the authority, the discipline, the love that come with having a father in the home. This is wrong. The present system often makes it possible to receive more money on welfare than on a low-paying job. This creates an incentive not to work, and it also is unfair to the working poor. It is morally wrong for a family that is working to try to make ends meet to receive less than a family across the street on welfare. This has been bitterly resented by the man who works, and rightly so. The rewards are just the opposite of what they should be. Its effect is to draw people off payrolls and onto welfare rolls, just the opposite of what government should be doing. To put it bluntly and simply, any system which makes it more profitable for a man not to work than to work, or which encourages a man to desert his family rather than to stay with his family, is wrong and indefensible. We cannot simply ignore the failures of welfare or expect them to go away. In the past 8 years, 3 million more people have been added to the welfare rolls, and this in a period of low unemployment. If the present trend continues, another 4 million will join the welfare rolls by 1975. The financial cost will be crushing, and the human cost will be suffocating. And that is why tonight I therefore propose that we abolish the present welfare system and that we adopt in its place a new family assistance system. Initially, this new system will cost more than welfare, but unlike welfare, it is designed to correct the condition it deals with and thus to lessen the long-range burden and cost. Under this plan, the so-called adult categories of aid to the aged, the blind, the disabled, would be continued, and a national minimum standard for benefits would be set, with the federal government contributing to its cost and also sharing the cost of additional state payments above that amount. But the program now called Aid to Families with Dependent Children, the program we all normally think of when we think of welfare, would be done away with completely. The new family assistance system I propose in its place rests essentially on these 3 principles. equality of treatment across the nation, a work requirement, and a work incentive. Its benefits would go to the working poor as well as the non-working, to families with dependent children headed by a father as well as to those headed by a mother. And a basic federal minimum would be provided, the same in every state. What I am proposing is that the federal government build a foundation under the income of every American family with dependent children that cannot care for itself, and wherever in America that family may live. For a family of 4 now on welfare with no outside income, the basic federal payment would be $1,600 a year. States could add to that amount, and most states would add to it. In no case would anyone's present level of benefits be lowered. At the same time, this foundation would be one on which the family itself could build. Outside earnings would be encouraged, not discouraged. The new worker could keep the first $60 a month of outside earnings with no reduction in his benefits. And beyond that, his benefits would be reduced by only 50 cents for each dollar earned. By the same token, a family head already employed at low wages could get a family assistance supplement. Those who work would no longer be discriminated against. For example, a family of 5 in which the father earns $2,000 a year, which is the hard fact of life for many families in America today, would get family assistance payments of $1,260 so that they would have a total income of $3,260. A family of 7 earning $3,000 a year would have its income raised to $4,360. Thus, for the first time, the government would recognize that it has no less an obligation to the working poor than to the non-working poor. And for the first time, benefits would be scaled in such a way that it would always pay to work. With such incentives, most recipients who can work will want to work. This is part of the American character. But what are the others? Those who can work but choose not to. Well, the answer is very simple. Under this proposal, everyone who accepts benefits must also accept work or training, provided suitable jobs are available either locally or at some distance if transportation is provided. The only exceptions would be those unable to work and mothers of preschool children. Even mothers of preschool children, however, would have the opportunity to work, because I am also proposing, along with this, a major expansion of daycare centers to make it possible for mothers to take jobs by which they can support themselves and their children. This national floor under incomes for working or dependent families is not a guaranteed income. Under the guaranteed income proposal, everyone would be assured a minimum income regardless of how much he was capable of earning, regardless of what his need was, regardless of whether or not he was willing to work. Now, during the presidential campaign last year, I opposed such a plan. I oppose it now, and I will continue to oppose it. And this is the reason. A guaranteed income would undermine the incentive to work. The family assistance plan that I propose increases the incentive to work. A guaranteed income establishes a right without any responsibilities. Family assistance recognizes a need and establishes a responsibility. It provides help to those in need, and in turn requires that those who receive help work to the extent of their capabilities. There is no reason why one person should be taxed so that another can choose to live idly. In states that now have benefit levels above the federal floor, family assistance would help ease the state's financial burdens. But in 20 states, those in which poverty is most widespread, the new federal floor would be above present average benefits, and would mean a leap upward for many thousands of families that cannot care for themselves.